Match number 6 in ICC Champions Trophy down and completed. And New Zealand have advanced to the knockout stage with semifinals of ICC Champions Trophy. The host, Pakistan, booted from their own party. Yes, I said it. Pakistan, the Pakistan cricket team, is officially out of this tournament. My co host, Samir Malik. Not a good day for Pakistan cricket today.
Hey, listen, it wasn't a good day yesterday either. So we knew this was coming. Obviously, hey, listen, there was a glimpse of hope when uh, Bangladesh got New Zealand to 15 for 2. And then guess what? Rachin Ravindra came to the party. Hey, listen, unbelievable performance by this kid today. I've been very impressed by him since his World Cup, hundreds that he had. And now another ICC event, especially considering that just last week he got hit in the head and was out with concussion, comes back in the first game, replacing Daryl Mitchell. Another shocking, revelation that now New Zealand is becoming so tight in their system of cricket that think about it, they dropped Daryl Mitchell to bring in this kid, and he scores 100 to win it for New Zealand.
So earlier, the Bangladesh team batted first, 236 for 9, with Shanto getting 77, Jacker Ali 45, Bracewell 4 for 26, New Zealand 240 for 5, with Ravindra, as you mentioned, Samir, 112. We're going to spend a little bit more time talking about this guy who was out for concussion and came back in his first game and made an absolutely brilliant 100. Tom Latham, the underrated Tom Latham, getting 55. New Zealand win by 5 wickets. But let's take it back to the Bangladesh performance, Samir. Very disappointing.
Yeah.
178 dot balls.
Hey, listen, once again, just a repeat of yesterday when Pakistan had 147 dot balls. And now these guys, but you know what? You got to give credit as we give credit to the Indian bowlers and we give credit today to the New Zealand bowlers. Unbelievable performance. But once again, hey, listen, it's the system, right? Look at the New Zealand system. I think the New Zealand team and the board have now finally come to terms with the fact that, hey, listen, the system needs to work. And the system does not care if you're a star or not. Look at Daryl Mitchell. I think he would feel hard done today that, he was dropped. But he was dropped for a guy who got hit in the head. Remember, this was not one of those concussions where he was wearing a helmet, got hit by a bowler, and then he's out for a few games. He got literally hit in the head, on the head with a ball, right? He misjudged the ball or he misplayed the ball or he didn't see the ball coming. And then
Mm.
guess what? You saw the images of Ravindra, walking off the field with blood dripping and the whole 9 yards, right? Guess what? He comes back in his first game, scores 112. How unbelievable is that? That is what
Yeah.
cricket is all about, man. And I get so excited when I see that. That, hey, listen, a guy who just got hurt. And remember, hey, listen, you got hit in the head. There could be significant injuries, right? And you
Yeah.
come back the next time playing an international game and you score 112. Unbelievable.
No, hats off to Ravindra Veer, a player of
And listen, he's a
enormous.
big ICC event player. Remember
Mhm.
in the World Cup previously, he scored centuries. Every time New Zealand is playing in an ICC event, this guy is always scoring runs.
A player really with tremendous ability. And today he scored 1,000 runs in 1 day international
Yes,
cricket.
and in
So,
very quick fashion, right? In very quick fashion. That's what we got to
mhm,
see. Look, he's already averaging 45 in ODIs, and I think he already has like what 4 centuries now. So he's
mhm,
played like 30 games and he has 4 centuries. How about
yeah.
that?
No, I mean, tremendous stuff there. Tremendous stuff from Ravindra. Samir, a brave call. I mean, I tipped Daryl Mitchell to be the leading run scorer in this tournament. And for me, it was a brave call to see Daryl Mitchell being dropped. I know Will Young played the first game, scored 100. I would have expected maybe Conway or someone else to make
Listen, but
way.
but do you see something again? I was looking at Fakhr Zaman as being the X factor. He
Mm.
breaks his ankle or pulls his side and he's out. You want Daryl Mitchell and he gets dropped. What's going on with our predictions, man?
Hey, the Champions Trophy has been turned upside down.
Upside
Again,
down. Hey, listen,
no one
exciting
expected the
times,
host.
exciting cricket.
And no one expected the host to be out this quickly. But again,
Yes.
they played poor cricket. Now, Samir, Doug Bracewell took top order wickets, and this is what any captain
Yep.
would be looking for. Not just getting wickets, but getting the top order. He took four of the Bangladesh top six. Uh, he was just named man of the match. I know you and I don't agree because we believe Ravindra's performance would have superseded, but Simon Dool and the rest of these former bowlers in cricket have been advocating for more bowlers to be recognized. What do you make of his performance? But also, what do you
Hey,
make of the
listen, I
decisions he made
understand
from
where
time
they're
to time?
coming from. I don't agree with it. I think today Rachin Ravindra should have been man of the match, but I don't, disagree with their pick either because, hey, listen, Bracewell set up that game, right? And once again, hey, listen, Bracewell usually in non-Asian conditions probably wouldn't even be bowling in the first 10 overs, right? So him coming in and doing what he's doing, and you're seeing this. You saw the Indian spinners yesterday dominate. You saw, Abrar Ahmed in a losing effort dominate 10 overs for 28 runs, even though he only got one wicket. And now today you see Bracewell, 4 wickets for 26. But you know what the key was? It was 43 dot balls that he bowled during his spell. That is unbelievable what he did today.
By the way, just got word that Mitchell was actually left out because of illness, so he wasn't
Hey,
dropped.
listen, that is something that they said just to make you feel good, man. He got dropped. He got dropped. Hey, listen, once again, hard done, but this is what New Zealand's all about now.
Now,
If you want to succeed in international cricket, you got to make hard decisions, and that's what New Zealand did today. I'm not going to be surprised. I'm going to tell you this right now. The next game that India and New Zealand play in Dubai is a warm-up game, so I don't expect New Zealand to go full force, and neither does India. But I won't be surprised that in the next game they're going to rest Kane Williamson, who basically has had a poor ICC Champions Trophy till now. I think he had a duck in the first game or one run in the first game, and now he had five today. Got out early again. So I wouldn't be surprised that they sit Kane Williamson for the next game.
well, you
Hey,
know,
listen, if Daryl Mitchell can be sat, so can Kane Williamson, man.
other than the performance of Bracewell Samir, I really liked what Jameson did. He was hitting those hard lengths. He really was very, very consistent. I know Bangladesh is not the best ODI team out there, not the best batting lineup out there, but Jameson was also very, very impressive in his delivery.
Hey, listen, all of New Zealand. I think the New Zealand bowlers bowled extremely well. You know what I was really surprised about? That they didn't use Glenn Phillips a lot today. I think they gave Bangladesh a chance when they didn't bowl, Phillips. Because if you even look at Santner today, even though he didn't get any wickets, he was very, very difficult to hit. He only gave up 44 runs in 10 overs, which is a very good performance on these pitches, right? So I think New Zealand actually gave a chance to Bangladesh, and Bangladesh got up to 236. Otherwise, I think Bangladesh wouldn't even get up to that level at one point. I was thinking that, Bangladesh is going to be bundled for like 170, 180. So I think New Zealand, obviously wanted their bowlers to get some work in because remember, they have an eye now on the semifinal, right? So they want to make sure that their team is prepared now going into these semifinals. That's the key. And that's what they did here today. So excellent job by New Zealand. Obviously, once again, hey, listen, just like Pakistan, Bangladesh is out. Poor performance by both those teams, and they're out in their own conditions pretty much.
Let's show a bit of love to Shanto, who made a good 50.
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
Um,
listen, did well, but once again, as I said, hey, listen, once again, 50s, especially at a 70 strike rate in today's ODI cricket, don't do anything for your team. Actually, it's a disservice when you bat in the 70 strike range, especially if you're going to open the batting in the first 10 overs. As modern day batsmen have shown you, and yesterday the Indian batsmen showed you, and today the New Zealand batsmen showed you. Look, New Zealand was 15 for 2. Guess what? Did you see them stop? They kept going, right? So the strike rate thing is very important in today's cricket. And with using two balls, and you have modern bats, you can hit the ball and you only have two people outside the circle in the first 10 overs in ODIs, you have to take advantage of that. And guess what? Bangladesh didn't do that.
Taskin struck in the first over, getting rid of the first match centurion Will Young. At this point, and also getting rid of Kane Williamson, they got rid of Kane Williamson shortly after. At this point, did Pakistani fans think, hey, there
Oh, of
might be a
course,
chance
of
here?
course. Hey, listen, the ghosts of 1992 start appearing, right? You start thinking, hey, listen, we were out, we were in. Then remember even the 2017 Champions Trophy that happened. And I've been hearing on social media that they were talking about the Simpsons predicting that Pakistan would win the Champions Trophy. Guess what, Simpsons? Your run is over. You don't predict anything right anymore.
Oh my goodness. Again, top performance after that recovery led by Rajendra, who scored.
Rachin Ravindra.
Rachin
Hey, listen,
Ravindra.
this I'm going to tell you, I am so impressed with this kid, and this is the reason why I'm so hopeful that New Zealand finally is going to get this big trophy that they deserve. Right? Hey, listen, I really think that if you're a real cricketing fan, okay, once again, hey, listen, there's other teams out there that are still in the mix, right? You have India, which obviously is favorites at this point, right? And you have Australia and South Africa on the ascent, right? So I think it's
Mhm.
going to be tremendous, amount of cricket being played, and it's going to be exciting cricket over the next week to 2 weeks. But I'm going to tell you this right now: if you're excited about cricket, you should be excited about the Kiwis right now. They are the team that you want them to win at this point. And I'm pretty sure once, because all the host Pakistan are out, Bangladesh is out, I'm pretty sure their fans are going to be supporting New Zealand at this point.
Yeah, no, for sure. The Kiwi is one of those teams billed as sort of the nice guys of cricket. A
And they
team that,
are. And they are the nice guys of cricket.
yeah, a team that everyone likes. And there's a saying that nice guys never win.
Yeah.
But they won the World Test Championship.
Hmm.
They have won the Champions Trophy before.
Yes.
Let's remember that.
Well,
But I
years
think
ago, years ago. I think
years
that was
ago,
like 20 years ago or something.
yeah. But I believe this could be their opportunity.
But you
To
know
take.
what? You know what I like about New Zealand? They play the game right. They're
Mhm.
respectful on the field. You never see, those antics that you even see coming up with India, Australia, England to a certain extent, where they're brash and arrogant, right? These players. To be honest, the New Zealand players are perfect gentlemen on the field. They're very respectful to the opposition. When they take wickets, they don't over celebrate. They don't have those stances like Ibrar yesterday after taking that wicket, right? They don't have any of that. They just go around doing their business, and they do it in a very professional manner. So I think, that's the reason why I would love for New Zealand here to make a deep run and hopefully lift the championship here.
Now that we're doing a bit of a post mortem, what would you consider your sort of lasting memory of this Bangladesh team? They're out. What would you remember about this team,
Hey,
or a
listen,
player from this team?
listen. I think the problem with Bangladesh has been the same that has been with Pakistan, right? They're just not playing modern day ODI cricket. Okay. Once again, I think these middling scores of 230, 240, 20, 30 years ago would have been working, right? In today's cricket, they just don't work. And you have to be aggressive and you have to play fearless cricket. And what I'm going to remember about Bangladesh, as much as I'm going to remember about Pakistan from this tournament, is both of them were afraid of playing cricket. That's what it was. It looked as if these players just didn't want to play. For example, look at Mushfiqur Rahim, right? One of the veterans of the Bangladesh cricket, at this point. What a poor tournament that he's had, right? Once again, he's had a poor tournament with the bat. He's had a poor tournament as a keeper. Unfortunate, but sometimes what happens is you have these older players who are so used to playing from the previous era, and now it's just a different era, and younger people are coming in, younger players are coming in who just more talented and they're fearless. That's what it is.
Now, along with what you just said, my lasting memory of this Bangladesh team is seeing Nahid Rana. What an exciting young paceman they have in their ranks, clocking close to the 150 mark. If Samir, I love to see fast bowling.
Hey, listen, I don't disagree with you, but you asked me what the lasting memory of this Bangladesh team is going to be.
Mm.
The lasting memory is that you see an aging squad, which basically is playing cricket from the 90s. They're not playing cricket from the 2025 era. I think that's the thing. There's no question, hey, listen, there's a lot of positive talent in Bangladesh. I think Shanto as captain is growing. If you look at Zakir Ali, he's your favorite. Once again, this kid is unbelievable. He performs at every stage, and now they have Nahid Rana, who I think is going to be a very, very good bowler. But once again, as a team, I think that's the problem that they have.
All right. So that's it. It's a wrap.
We're going to
Bangladesh.
talk South Africa, Australia now.
Absolutely. South Africa, Australia, Bangladesh out of the tournament. New Zealand marches on. Tomorrow, another humdinger of a contest awaits as Australia, record breakers in ICC tournament chasing history in the last game, takes on South Africa. Both teams made over 300 runs in their first encounters. And tomorrow in Rawalpindi, we're expecting another road, another batting surface, Samir. Your expectations for Australia, South Africa in what is
Hey, listen,
effectively
remember this game
a
just
top
got
10 clash?
played. This game just got played in Rawalpindi too, right? The
Mhm.
Bangladesh New Zealand game. I'm not expecting this to be a batter friendly pitch tomorrow. I
Mhm.
expect this to be a similar pitch to what we got today. So this is going to be a really, really exciting game. And I think both South Africa and Australia will want to win this game and book a ticket to the semifinals, right? So this is going to be a very, very interesting game. Once again, hey, listen, I think the edge at this point still goes to South Africa because they still have a well-rounded side. Remember, Australia is still missing, their pace ballers, right? So I think that's going to be an advantage to South African batting. Hey, listen, for anyone when you're facing Pat Cummins, Hazelwood, and Mitchell Stark, if they're not there, I think that's an advantage to the other team, right? And that's what South Africa is going to try to take advantage of. Once again, I think victory does not guarantee either team's progression as of yet, but I think it's going to put them in a very, very good shape going forward.
You and I spoke about the Australian and their ICC Championship DNA. I know
Yes,
they're
that's still
missing,
there.
and it's still there. I know they're missing three of their main quicks, but with guys like Spencer Johnson, these guys are still top performers in international cricket. And Australia always finds a way, Samir. In 2003, Shane Warne and Mark Waugh were banned on the eve of the World Cup. And Australia, on the back of Ricky Ponting and Andrew Simons, the late Andrew Simons, still found a way to win. So you
And
have
I will not be surprised tomorrow if Australia, wins this game because once again Australia is Australia. But I at this point, because of the fact that they just had that great victory against England in that chase, I'm gonna say, hey, listen, this team is probably gonna now take a breather here. They're not gonna be as I think they're going to be motivated, but they're not going to be as motivated as they were going into that England game, right? Remember, the Australia England game is one of those rivalries, right? That basically produces new stars every time, right? Like Inglis, he was a star in that game. So I think South Africa is going to be very, motivated too, because remember, they want to beat Australia. Remember, as you said in 2003, South Africa, got knocked out early at their own, remember party, right? So that's what usually happens. You usually go into these tournaments and, Pakistan, has already, been eliminated. So I think South Africa is going to be one of those teams who's going to be cognizant and saying, hey, listen, we want to make a deep run here.
the form books, Samir, shows that both these teams have lost four of their last five international games. The form book, though, I think you agree with me, doesn't matter when it comes
Does
to
not
these
matter
teams.
here. Hey,
They have
listen, once
one
again,
in their
those games that Australia lost, remember they lost to Sri Lanka, who's not even in the tournament. And I think Australia was basically trying things at that point. They were trying to figure out, what the right strategy is going into this event, right? Same thing with South Africa. I think they weren't at full strength when they lost those games. And at the same point, they were trying things out. This is the main event. They don't try now. This is not the time when they experiment. Like Pakistan, they were experimenting with Babar Azam as opener. It backfired. South Africa is not going to do that. So I think, looking at, where we are, I still think that, what South Africa is going to do is South Africa is going to go in with three spinners, including Aiden Markham. And I think Australia is going to do the same thing they did in the last game. They're going to have a couple of spinners, and they're going to have Marnus turning over his arm. Remember, Marnus was very important in basically, restricting England the other day to 351. If Marnus wouldn't have balled those 7 overs for 43 runs, England probably is scoring 380, 390, and we were having a completely different conversation at that point.
Racing van der Dursen left out of the last T20 World Cup. He was extremely disappointed with that decision. But he has one of the highest batting averages for South Africa in ODI cricket. He was a key figure in the last game, and he's expected, with a high century, by the way, and he's expected to do well again. What do you make of Van der Dursen and his exploits, and what can we expect from him in this game coming up?
Hey, listen, I think Dustin's had an unbelievable run again. Once again, hey, listen, he's one of those players who, once again reminds me of, who? Rachin Ravindra, right? Once again,
Mm.
the guy just comes in and he always
Interesting
scores
comparison.
runs, right? I think how many? Once again, just like Rachin Ravindra just had his fourth century in 30 games. I think Van Dusen has like 6 or 7 or 8 centuries in like 60, 70 games, right? So these guys, every fifth or 10th game, they're scoring centuries. That's what I love about these players. And I think, this is an exciting talent. He bats at a high strike rate. And I think, he's going to score a lot of runs, in his career. I think he's going to do very well tomorrow.
Now, big news from the South African camp. Henrik Klaassen is expected to have a fitness test. One of
Yes.
the most exciting players in world cricket at this point, Samir. One of the best finishers in the T20 and the ODI game. Many people look at himself and Nicholas Pooran and a couple of these guys as sort of a top white ball players. And South Africa will be hoping that he's available, but who is he going to replace? Everyone
I,
performs.
I think he's
Or
going to replace Zorzi. I think that's what he's going to do if he's fit. If he's fit, right? But remember, Zorzi's been in good form too. But I
yes,
don't think he fits this equation this match, right? Against Australia, you want guys like Rickleton, who just got a century the other day. You want Dustin in there, but at the same time, it's if let's say Klaassen is fit, right? There's also the question of what about Marco Stubbs, right? That guy is already on the bench too. Remember, another tremendous talent on the bench. That's what I'm talking about, right? Hey, listen, that's what exciting about this tournament, that you have so many good players. Listen, we talked about Pant on the bench. Now we're talking about Stubbs on the bench. So I think South Africa has a good problem. Here's what I would do. I would recommend you take Zorzi, put him on the bench if Klassen is fit, right? And then you open with Bavuma and Rickleton, and you have Dustin at 1 down, Markham at 2 down, Klassen at 3 down, Miller at 4 down. It's an unbelievable batting lineup here.
it is an absolutely scary prospect, and Klassen is going to be important because
Yeah, against Australia for sure. But
his
hey,
spin
listen, if
play.
he's not fit, I would not take that chance because I think South Africa is going to make a deep run here, right? So if he's not fit, I think you would rather let him sit and hopefully recover for the England game, right? Which is going to be an important game too. I think that's going to be like a call of fire, regardless of what happens. So I think, South Africa should not take that chance because remember, they have the bench strength, right? Once again, if you were a team like Pakistan or a team like Bangladesh who didn't have the bench strength, you would take your chance with a star player. I would not take a chance with a star player like Klassen at this point.
He has scored 121 runs of 89 against Adam Zampa, who is Australia's key bowler. So he's going to be very important. So let's
Yeah,
see.
very, very important. But I think at the same time, because they won the first game,
Yeah.
it's not important for them to really play him at this point. If he's not fit, once again, I don't know if he's going to be fit. Remember, he's also a wicket keeper, right? So remember, Klassen puts extra stress on his body, right? And I think they said that he had a problem with his elbow, right? So once again, hey, listen, a keeper is always using his elbows, right? Left, right, up, down, the whole thing. You don't want him to get hurt, especially if you are going to make a deep run into the knockout stages. That's where he's
Samir,
more important.
Malik, this is the group of death. This
I
game is
agree. But hey,
this
listen, the
game is
group of
important.
death at this point has calmed down a little bit because England's already lost their first game and Afghanistan's already lost their first game. So I think South Africa needs to be very careful. You don't want Klassen to have a permanent injury and he's out of the tournament.
Australia had two left arm quicks opening the bowling in the first
Yes.
game, and for me, it's a bit of a sameness in their attack. It's
Yep.
not bad,
But the
but a
reason
little.
is, listen, it's very difficult to replace Josh Hazelwood, Pat Cummins, and
Mm.
Mitchell Stark. Come on, man, they're doing their best here.
But
You
they
know,
have
I
Sean
think
Abbott. They have Sean Abbott on the bench.
I think so too. But
He's an
I think
option.
they're gonna go. I think they're gonna go with the same squad.
Mm.
They haven't. See. I don't see that they're gonna make a switch at this point. And
Mm.
especially, I think a couple of days ago, Alex Carey, who basically, even though he's not captain, Steve Smith is captain, but he's known as the de facto leader of this team right now, right? And they're saying that Alex Carey came out and said he's gonna probably go with the same 11. I think he has some input on with the team selection. So I think that's what they're gonna do. Can they swap one of their two lefties for maybe Sean Abbott? You're absolutely right, they can. But why would we do that, especially considering they had, even though they gave up a lot of runs, it was a very encouraging performance by the Australians, right? That's the key. Even though they gave up 350, nobody is saying, listen, these 350 were unreasonable runs. It was a flat track, and everybody got hit the other day.
For me, their batting lineup performed well. They've done the right thing by bringing in Alex Carey as a batsman because he's very good against spin, and obviously we're in subcontinent
And he's
conditions.
a really good fielder, man. He's a really good fielder.
He took some
Let's not
brilliant
forget
catches.
that.
Right, right. So I think that was good. But for me, Australia, their batting lineup remains the same. But I'm bringing in my team. I would like to
Yeah.
see Sean Abbott for one of those left arm quicks.
You see, with Australia, I think here's the scarier part. You know what the scarier part is? In that 352 chase the other day, neither did Head score, neither did Smith score. That's the scarier part. And I think South Africa is going to be very cognizant of that too. I think South Africa is going to go in and say, listen, we need to make sure that we restrict Australian batting no matter what happens. And the best way to restrict Australian batting is going to be by batting really well. That's the key.
All right. New Zealand trounced Bangladesh today. They advanced to the semifinals of ICC competition. Pakistan now officially knocked out, sent home from their own party.
Roger, before we wrap up, who's going to win the game tomorrow?
Whew, I'll go Australia.
I'm going to go South Africa. Even though
All
I
right.
love Australia, I love Australia's DNA, in these events, it's a winning combination that they have no matter who they put on the field. But I think there's going to be, after beating England, which is a rivalry game, I think there's a letdown. And then the next game against Afghanistan, the DNA comes back. That's what I feel.
There you have it. Predictions from Roger and Samir. Roger says Australia to win tomorrow. Samir's prediction is South Africa. We have gotten some of our predictions wrong.
Hey, listen. Part of the job that we do, right? Once again, we're not going to be right every time, but I hope that this gives our viewers a lot of information that they want, and hopefully they enjoy the game tomorrow.
Absolutely. Fans, viewers, thank you for joining us today and our continued coverage of the Champions Trophy on All Our Cricket and the massive hit Cricket Channel. We will see you tomorrow when we do a roundup of the big one in the group of death, Australia versus South Africa. Bye for now.
Take care.